yesterday I had what feels like a mind-blowing realization for me, and
All right, go watch her video. It is really good. She's got a lot of information in there, and it kind of spurred me to want to tell a story here. It's going to be a little bit longer, so I do apologize in advance. But basically, the thing about being able to keep jobs as a person with autism. Now, I'm self-identifying as autistic at this point and have been for a little bit here, even though I feel bad about it because I don't have an official diagnosis, but I have my reasons for not doing that. I've done a few videos back, but I would be glad to make more videos on why if you have questions on that. But so autistics generally have a problem with injustice and with rules, right? That's kind of a thing. Like we like the rules and procedures to be followed, right? For one reason or the other, we like that. And so I'm going to talk about one company I worked for and why I lost my job there. And it's a similar thread to other reasons I've lost my job in other places. But essentially, when I started with this company, it was because I lost a job at another company. And that's a whole nother story. But I was fired from this position. That's not even a debate, but it's how it happened and what happened. So anyway, this company was a managed service provider. If you don't know what that is, basically it's an IT company, a form of IT company. If you work for a company that uses technology and you don't seem to have a very clear or apparent IT presence in your building or your area, but you get IT support, most likely your company has fired your IT team and outsourced to another company that provides IT services. And there's plenty of these here in America. I live in Colorado. They are a dime a dozen. They are everywhere. They all have different rates. They all run about the same. In my opinion, they're garbage. Not the people who work for them, but the companies themselves. They don't care about your IT. Their job is to extract as much money from your company as possible for your IT services. That's it. They have a message of caring and providing solutions, but realistically, they're marketing to you, in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Some are more, some are less, to provide IT services for your company instead of you having to hire 5 or 6 people for your IT services. Anyway, enough of that. So I worked for an MSP. I've worked for a couple actually, because that's if you want to make money in IT and you don't want to go broke, that's kind of the option there is, although that's slid because it's McDonald's wages. And to put on that, MSPs are the McDonald's of IT. That's it. That's what they are. I don't care what your skill level is. They're the McDonald's of IT. If you're working in MSP, it's because your job has been destroyed for the sake of saving money. That's it. That's all there is to it. Anyway, so I worked for an MSP, and when I started with this company, they were actually pretty good. This was years ago now. They were great. I remember they had the bullpen where all the technicians were really well decorated. We had Mario stuff on the wall. They were those little, they stick to the wall, but they're not stickers. They had a Mario setup. People had flair on their desks, like Funkos and stuff. Lots of really neat, geeky stuff. It felt like a really neat office. It felt amazing. The culture was great. The people could talk to each other. There was no disagreements. Even if somebody said something that would potentially be offensive, nobody got upset about it. This was a great office. Pay was good. People treat each other well. Now, we were in kind of a crappier part of town, but the office was affordable for the company, and we really didn't have customers coming all the time. We had lots of space for stuff. They had a warehouse. There was a pool table in the back even. One of the employees particularly loved playing pool. But anyway, that's his story another time. But we moved. They didn't sell the building. The lease ended. I don't know if the rent was going or was going on. They moved. They moved to another location. And this location was better, physically better. It was easier to get to, and traffic was a bit better for me anyway. And the location was cleaner, and we were outside of just a lot of noise and stuff. It was really nice. It wasn't a huge office. It was smaller than the other one, but it was a better location. And so in that, when we got in the new office, there was an immediate culture change. Now, we had changed employees too over time, so that was part of it, but there was no more flair. There was no more decorations on the wall. It was very corporate art that got put on the wall. There was no flair allowed on desks anymore. They were like, you could put one thing and it has to be approved. There was no flair anymore. That culture was gone. Again, not really many people came through our office. Not a lot of people, customers that we came through, and the customers that did, we knew. So it wasn't like new people that hadn't seen our old office. This made no sense. Then later on, this company was owned by somebody who also owned a data center in Colorado Springs, in this town, because that's what I'm talking about. So that data center got sold. Now, I can't confirm this or not, but I'm pretty sure all the employees got fired from the data center when they sold it. One of the CEOs from that data center, now the other portion about who got fired or not, I am not clear on. That's just me alleging that they fired them. It was a sell-off. I'm pretty sure they did. The CEO from that data center got a little bit of cash out of that. And by a little bit, I mean it was a nice, hefty sum. Some numbers were thrown around. I never saw the actual amount. I heard it was $1.2 to $2 million that he made. I'm not going to say his name here, but he started working for our company, and this is a while after our move. And then that's when things really changed. He was running through like Elon Musk. The man didn't know anything about MSPs. He was trying to model this after a Fortune 500 company. We had maybe 20 people total. Anyway, needless to say, we're losing money. The kind of clients we were getting were bottom of the barrel clients, really crappy clients that were yelling at the staff. We lost a lot of people. That for a company that small, went through so many people so fast. Very few people that were there did I recognize. The guy that was the executive that was running things at this point, he had like tech knowledge of a world that didn't exist anymore. He did read articles, and I'll give him that he was on trend with security stuff, but he was not able to do the job that his technicians were able to do. Our office manager was a great guy, but I realized he was a good PR person. Man, I admire him for his ability to say two things at the same time. And it's a shame because, man, there are times where I felt like he really did not like the position he was in but didn't know what else to do. My immediate manager did not know anything about IT, but ran things, and she had a corporate background, ran things like it was a big corporation. That was never going to get us anywhere. We were doing better with our clients when we had the culture we had before. That was just fact. We didn't start really losing anything as far as I was told or could tell until we started doing the shift. Additionally, they wanted us for feedback. They wanted us to give feedback what we could do. All that feedback was wasted. The meetings we had were a waste of time and became basically the CEO patting himself in the back. Now, for you tech people out there, to give you the breaking point, I'm sorry I came late into it, but we had a meeting because they wanted everybody to get Cisco certified. Now, if you're IT, you know what that means. If you're not IT, it means you're certified with a specific brand of hardware that the company would get discounts, and we're really good at being able to fix that hardware, get it replaced, configure it, those kind of things. I'm a tier 1, tier 2 tech. I don't care to be Cisco certified. I'm sorry. Getting 15 to 18 an hour to be Cisco certified is a joke. Now, beyond that, they wanted everybody to get Cisco certified. They were going to pay for it, but they were not going to give us pay raises. So we're in a meeting, and I asked the question. I said, so when everybody gets Cisco certified, right, that means every employee here is going to be Cisco certified. We get these great discounts. Does that mean that we're going to get pay raises? And his response, the executive's response was, well, we just think people will stay here and not expect a pay raise because they like it here. After the office culture had been ripped to shreds. So that's what we're dealing with. Ultimately, I lost that job because I was criticizing the things that executive was doing. I was questioning things, and that's not allowed. She talks about social hierarchy. So because of that, I ended up getting fired. And I know that it wasn't my immediate boss or the office manager I was talking about, because talking with them, I already knew in the conversation there was no redeeming this. They called it an exit interview, but there really wasn't much conversation. They got upset when they asked me why I was there, and I was like, well, I got to pay rent, I got to eat. And they're like, you do this job for money? They got really upset about that. But I don't know that it was outrage. I think they were just trying to find some legitimate reason to try to make it look like or spin it like there was a reason for me being out of what I was doing. But the reality is I lost that job because I was questioning the executive, and you just don't do that. When previously that office thrived on people questioning each other, asking why processes were where they were, asking why the business was running the way it was. But when a man with ego came in, and again, it's always a man with ego, isn't it? When a man with ego came in who made his money by selling out the people that he was working with prior, then it became something different. So anyway, sorry for the long story, but that's what I've got there. I've got other stories like these because as an autistic, I think the reason I've lost a lot of jobs at this point is because I'm just not able to mask well enough to deal with the absurdities and the corruption that takes place on a lot of companies. And it's rampant out there. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think and leave some comments if you will. Thank you.